everybody, it's Sue here from slowideas.com. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. Today I want to talk about buying a sewing machine. So you're stuck inside, it's pandemic, and you think you might want to get started sewing. You've got some old bed sheets that you might be able to turn into things. Or you want to make some fabric masks. I'm not talking about that right now, but I am talking about what to look for when you're buying your first sewing machine. So let's just assume that you're not inheriting one, because then you don't have much of a choice. You want to go out and you want to get something that's reasonably affordable, but is going to last. So you don't want to buy a cheap machine. The first thing, don't go to Walmart and buy a sewing machine. And just don't go to Walmart, please. If you think I'm wrong about that, then buy. See ya. I'm not arguing about that. Don't go to Walmart and buy your sewing machine. London Drugs does sell sewing machines if you're up here in Canada or in BC. However, the model that they sell, the Brother machine, I can't find a review for it on patternreview.com, which has sewing machine reviews for practically every model ever made. So I don't know what to read into that, but I would say it's not very good. You can buy Brother machines on Amazon as well, but the problem with buying a sewing machine from a store that does not sell sewing machines as their main thing is the staff don't know anything about it. So if you're having problems using it, you are on your own. However, if you buy from a sewing machine dealer, you can usually get a free lesson in how to use it. If you're stumped and you just cannot make that thing thread properly, you can take it back and ask for help. And I have done that with my sewing machines in the past. And also you can go there and get parts for it. So London Drugs really doesn't sell parts for their sewing machine. You can't get different presser feet and stuff like that. And it's just good to get into the habit of being in a good relationship with your sewing machine dealer, because you never know when you're going to need their help on something. Okay, what to look for. For starters, don't get one of those cutesy my first sewing machine things, because I guarantee you it will never be enough sewing machine for you. Even if you're buying a sewing machine for a child, you want to get a real sewing machine. And here's the reason why. The children's sewing machines have a bunch of guards and things like that in place to stop a kid from running their fingers under the needle. Now, I happen to know fully grown adults who have run their finger under a needle, so it can happen at any age. But also, if your child is not responsible enough to keep their fingers away from a really sharp thing moving really, really fast, do you want them playing with your fabric scissors or rotary cutters or pins? I don't think so. So starting with a real machine teaches them respect for the process of sewing, and if they're ready for sewing, then they're ready for a real machine, is my opinion. It can be really irresistible to get a cute small machine, but they just end up on the shelf. So, but on the other hand, you don't want to buy something that's too fancy either. So I'm going to show you some features of my machine, and then that can help you when you're shopping for a basic entry-level sewing machine. You might think, hey, Sue's been sewing for 20 odd years. She must have a fancy machine, but I do not. This is my Kenmore. It was bought for me in 2000 as a Christmas present by my dad, who wanted me to give back his sewing machine because I had taken it away to university in Calgary. So he bought me this. It took me a couple of months to actually get around to using it because I was in the middle of graduate school. But when I did, I was just absolutely delighted by it. It's a simple, straightforward machine. It has very good speed control. This is not an advertisement for this Kenmore machine, of course, because you can't buy it. Sears has gone out of business. But Kenmore was made by Janome. So that's a machine you can actually go out and buy. This is a rock solid metal machine. That's what you're looking for. This thing is really heavy, like super heavy. It's actually the heaviest sewing machine I own because all of those parts in there, even though it's a plastic case, the parts in there are metal. And that is a really good thing. It means it's going to last me decades. The other thing for a basic machine is there's no dial, there's no screens, there's no LEDs, there's nothing electronic on this machine, so it's really easy to fix. When something goes wrong, it's a part, and it's a part that can be replaced because Janome makes them. The dials are all mechanical. They're very simple. Of the 20 stitches, I've only maybe used 6, so if you've confined a 12-stitch machine, it's got what you need. Zigzag and straight, maybe a buttonhole stitch, and maybe a 3-step zigzag, which has like do 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 do. There's my little song about 3 stitch zigzag, which you use for making bras and activewear a lot. It's used for attaching elastic onto things. Yeah, so this has what's known as a top loading bobbin. The little cover comes off. The bobbin, which I load from the top of the machine in a really easy process, it just drops in. And there's a little diagram on the thing to remind me how to load the bobbin so that it works, which is great because sometimes I've loaded it wrong. Nothing has happened when I'm sewing or it snarls and I'm like, oh, this does not look like the diagram. So that's great. This also has a feature called the free arm. So I can take off this handy little storage case, and which has lots of bits and bobs in it, and I can then put a sleeve or something like an armhole or something very small on this, and so in a circle. So it's really good for attaching arms or hemming sleeves and things like that. I can drop the feed dogs, which is good if I wanted to do free motion quilting. So if you want to get into quilting or think you might, that's a really good feature on a basic sewing machine. And yeah, that's kind of it. That's what you need. So Cloth Castle and Sawyers are your local dealers here in Greater Victoria. Cloth Castle sells Husqvarna machines and Brother, I think, and also Handy Quilter, yeah, which is a really big fancy quilting machine. So Brother's basic model that they sell at Cloth Castle is better than the one at London Drugs. It does have an LED screen for the stitch selection, so it's a mechanical machine with an electronic controller. As you go up, you get more into computerized controllers, and they can have up to 400 stitches. And there's a little computer motherboard and circuit board and stuff like that inside the sewing machine that tells the machinery what to do. So the more you get like that, the harder it becomes to fix as well when things go south, as they do with sewing machines. So Sawyer's Sewing Center is a dealer for Janome, Pfaff, Baby Lock, and Elna. They might carry Singer sewing machines as well. Someone in this town has to. The lower price machines at Sawyer's are from Janome, and I think there's also one from Pfaff. But they have a clearance page, and I've linked to it on my blog, slowideas.com. I've got an article there about how to buy a sewing machine. So you can get some really good deals on entry-level machines from Sawyer's, and you can also take it there to get it fixed. Right, so what about getting a used machine? So if you're getting handed a sewing machine, you're probably not going to say, oh, no, thank you, I won't take that. But what you want to do with it is probably get it checked out. So you can take it to Sawyer, and their mechanics deal with all makes of sewing machine. You can also contact the Make House, and Jenny there will put you in touch with Bill Murray, who is the Lower Island sewing machine repair guy. And he can sort of do a once-over on the machine. He may actually know the machine, like where it came from, because he's serviced a lot of machines on this island. Yeah, so they can sort of tell you if there's any major problems with it, like if it's super rusty. If the machine has not been stored carefully, or you don't know how it's been stored, it's a little bit more risky because those machines can rust out, and then they're just like it's a maintenance headache. So you're just going to spend a lot of money on maintaining it. I see a lot of sewing machines that are sort of the vintage Singer type on Used Victoria and Craigslist. They can be a little trickier to use because they don't come with a lot of like the manuals and stuff like that, but they're really popular with collectors. And you know, a 50s era Singer sewing machine will sew through denim like nobody's business. And some of the newer machines can't handle the heavy fabric like that, but the older ones that are rock solid, they can. So what about a serger? Do you need a serger? I would say no, because a serger is something that finishes the edges of fabric. It wraps thread around them as well as sewing a seam down it. And it's fast for doing anything. So you can use it on woven fabric or on knit fabric to finish the edges so they don't fray. But there's ways of working without a serger. So if you're just getting started, I wouldn't spend the money on a serger. But if you find yourself sewing a lot of knits or working with a lot of fabrics that fray a lot, then yeah, maybe you might go for it. I spent $400 on my serger in 2003. And the funny thing is that almost the same model is still available right now for about $400. So, what's going on there? Yeah, that's about it. Thanks very much for watching my video, and please click the subscribe button, which is down in that corner there, I believe, and then you'll find out when I post new videos. Thanks everybody, and have a great night.